By the time the car service had come, I had managed to rustle Ben out of the door with all of his huff and puff. By the time we got to his dad's house, he settled down, but surely this was the calm before the storm. When I dropped Ben off, I could tell by the look on Roby's face that he was going to go through hell and back with Ben. I left my baby boy knowing full well the havoc that our son could cause in just a few moments, which had me giddy and in a good all the way to the airport. Henry's story: I just wanted to get away from the city as fast as I could. I had gotten into another pointless argument with Madeline before I left for the airport. It was quite clear that we needed this business trip away from each other or we would kill each other. I checked my phone to make sure that my flight was on time, and what do you know, in big red letters, delayed. I laid my head back on the headrest of the town car to try and clear my thoughts, but that clearly wasn't working. These last few months had been straining to say the least. Madeline had called me at least 15 times since I left the house. She wasn't going to stop until I answered the phone. But I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. The car pulled up to the curb and the driver announced our arrival at the airport. I reached for the handle of the door only for it to be open on the outside. The figure waiting for me to get out wasn't surprising. She was improving her strategy. Had to give her credit for this ambush. Her rich perfume made its way to my senses and it began to make me nauseous. I got out of the car in silence, heading towards the trunk for my bag. We weren't finished this morning. I could tell she was on the verge of a full-scale meltdown. Her heels were clicking on the pavement as she was waiting for a response that she wasn't going to get. I walked by her as if she didn't exist, only to have her hand grab my arm with a little more force than I would like to admit. I got really close to her and took her hand, squeezing it just enough to remove it from my arm. I looked directly into her eyes and said all that I was going to say to her today or any day. I was done talking to her. I told you, I'm done. The anger turned into sheer terror and she knew I meant it. I walked toward the entrance, leaving her with her thoughts. There was no turning back, no looking back. To be continued.